Hey Flosstube, I am Danielle and this is my channel Love and Stitchin', and this is a channel about cross stitch. Today is Thursday, August 17th, 2023. This is Flosstube number 37. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been a very long time since I have been on here, a good 3.5 months. I did not have the intention for it to be that long. Life just kind of got in the way, especially with 3 little children now. So things have been very busy around here. But I do have some stitching to share with you today, and so I'm excited to be back to be able to share what I've been working on for the past few months. And I'm so glad that you are here for joining me, and I just thank you guys so much for all of your comments on my last video, as well as the well wishes on Instagram with my daughter's surgery. I'll give more of a life update towards the end, but we felt all the prayers and the well wishes, and everything went really well, and she's doing great. So I'm just so thankful for this community and for everyone around the world that has just kind of rallied around us through this crazy year that it has been. If you're new, thank you so much for stopping by and checking things out. If you've been with me, from the beginning or anywhere along the lines, I'm just so grateful for everyone who decides to spend a little bit of their time with me in this Flosstube community. So a little bit of what I've got to share today. I am going to show some previous finishes because I don't have any fully finished objects. My craft room is currently in a disarray as we are still in the process of getting things organized in there. It takes a lot of time when you have 3 little kids and working. My husband works full-time. I work part-time, but a couple different jobs that sometimes add up to full-time depending on what time of year it is. So just everything is very slow moving, but we are making progress. My husband's been building some beautiful shelves in there that I've started to fill up. And so we've started to just kind of sort through everything and get things organized so I can get in there and actually create. I feel like when there's just a disarray, I can't create very well. So it's not been motivating right now to get in there and try to do any kind of fully finishing. But I'm hoping the next month or so things will be put together to where I can get in there, especially get some Christmas things finished because I've got ornaments. I've got bigger finishes from last year that I still want to get done. So I do need to get some things finished up. So hopefully soon I will be able to share some fully finished objects with you. I do have, so I've got some notes here. I've got 9 finishes that I was able to get done, and then 14 WIPs. And then the haul section is a lot, because apparently when you don't have as much time to stitch, you work on your other hobby, which is collecting stash. So there's a lot of that too. And then I'll give a little bit of a life update at the end for everyone who is interested. So let's jump in. For my previous finishes, I do have like my bee theme going right now. I'll probably start working on fall decorating. I usually get that up around September 1st, but we are going to be out of town for Labor Day weekend. So I'm thinking that week before I'll probably go ahead and switch things over because I know once September hits, things are going to be busy. And I won't have a lot of time to decorate. So I'll probably try to switch over to fall. But right now we've got the bees up. So this is one of my bee finishes from last year, I want to say. When Java Girl Stitches was doing the It Be Tuesday stitch along, so that was a hashtag. This is one that I picked up every Tuesday for a while because I wanted to get it finished. And it was a lot of fun to stitch. So this is Trees and Bees by Cottage Needleworks. And it is stitched on 28 count coffee tea-dyed Monaco that I did. And then I believe all the colors are the called for colors or very, very similar. This finishing piece is from Walmart. And it already came with this color and everything. So it just came completely like this. And so what I did is I put some backing fabric that I have no idea where I got, maybe Joann's or Hobby Lobby, some yellow rickrack, and then the piece, and then just 3 bows and a daisy in the middle that I did. So this is one of my favorite finishes from last year, and I love displaying it every year with my bees. 2 other finishes. I'm not much of a sewer. But I do try to dabble a little bit with the sewing machine. And so I like to make little pillows every now and then. And so this is a Lizzie Kate, and it is part of her, what is it? It's the seasonal, there's like 4 seasonal pillows. I can't think of what the name is. And I stitched it on like this kind of creamy, even weave. It's probably a 28 count. And I probably use my own colors. And then I just stitched it into a little pillow. So I added just a trim here and then the honeycomb, honey type fabric that I liked. And then on the back, it's got the same black. And then I did use the method of sewing all the way around and then cutting in the middle. And so I put just like a little honeycomb here, and I probably should put like a little bee button or something there. I'll probably do that. But the charm came with the pack for this one. And now that I'm looking at this, this actually might be a 32 count. I think it's a little bit smaller. So I like that pillow. And then this is another one that came, I think this one is part of the spring pack though, but because it's bees, I keep it out. And it's monochromatic, which I really like. And I can't remember which thread I used for this one, but I like how it turned out. I don't think I used the called for. And then I just used the matching fabric on the side, and I used the same fabric on the back, and then another bee skip that probably needs like a little bee charm to do it. So those are my attempts at stitching pillows. You will see some project bags that I made over the last few months in this video. So again, I do dabble in the sewing, but it's more just from what I wanted to do. I don't really sew much for others because I'm still in the process of learning and I'm not that great at it. So I don't want to give someone something that's not super well done, and so I'm still kind of practicing and getting there. But I enjoy making things, especially because I've got so much fabric. So when it comes to like fabric for like bags, it's a great way to use up my fabric and not purchase bags and save a little bit of money. Though I do have plenty of bags that I have purchased and been gifted as well. All right, so for my finishes, let me grab that stack. Here we go. One that I've been working on since May of last year, I think, is the Home is Where the Wreath Is. And I did decide to stitch letters. I know a lot of people use like the wood pieces, which I think is a fantastic idea, but I was crazy and decided to stitch them, which is why it took me forever. So I've had the H done. I think it goes this way maybe. Yeah, I think it goes that way. I probably need to put a note on there so I see which one is the top. I've had the H done for a while. This was the first one that I did. So the way that I did these is I completely outlined them first and then I just filled in. So I outlined all of the letters and then just started working on the fill-in. A lot of times it would be car fill-in, but then I'd get tired of that being my car piece, so I'd pick something else, and so it just sat in my car forever. So the H was done last year, and then I started working on, I think the E is the next one that I did. So there's my E. I haven't fully finished them yet. I do know how they're getting fully finished, I just haven't done that yet. And then the M is what I worked on. So when my daughter was in the NICU, I brought this with me because it was just easy to stitch. There were a 12-day period when she was intubated and I wasn't able to hold her, but I still went and sat with her and changed her diaper when it was time to do that, did all of those things. And so when I just was sitting with her while she was sleeping and resting, I just kind of picked this M up, and I thought it was appropriate because her name is Madeline. And so I was working on my M while she was resting during that time. And then I decided I needed some color, and so on some of those days, my husband and I would switch out. So I would go sit in the car with the kids for a little while so that he could go and spend like an hour with Maddie while she was in the NICU. So on the weekends we did that. So I needed something a little bit different, and at that point I could like look at the pattern. And so I decided to stitch the O, and so I worked on that in the car while I was waiting for him, and while the kids were in the back playing or reading or something, like watching a movie, something like that, to keep them entertained. So I did make a mistake on this, so it's not perfectly symmetrical because I think there's something over here, but you can't tell. And I've mentioned this before. I guess I can use this. I did bring my little board. That the stitching with the Housewives patterns, I feel like, are very forgiving if you make a mistake. You don't always have to fix it, or there's easier ways to correct it rather than ripping it out. And so I did not feel like ripping this one out. So yeah, that is the Home is Where the Wreath Is. All right, and then in my last video, I was showing you my progress on Big City Christmas, and I've got all of them in this bag. So I did finish the next one that I was working on, which was the street scene. There it is, right? Yeah, street scene. And so this is the pattern that I was working on. I've gotten 4 of them done. So there's 3 left, and I would like to get these done. So once I kind of move on to some Christmas stitching, I'm hoping to pick this back up. But I've been working on a little bit of fall for August that I wanted to pick up, and just some everyday stitching as well. So this is my finish here, and it is stitched on, I think this is wheat Lugana, 28 count. with all the called for colors. So last time I had the tree outlined, so then it was just easy to fill in, and that made it go a lot faster. I think I still had some snowflakes to do, and then the cab maybe was started. I don't think it was finished. So that is the fourth one that I've done. And then I do have the other ones. I can go ahead and show those since it's been a while, since they're all just sitting in this bag. This was the first one, which is the department store. It is also stitched on the same fabric and called for threads. And then the theater, I think, was the second one that I stitched. And let's see, the toy store, which I love this one with the little nutcracker man. He's super cute. My sister-in-law loves nutcrackers. Maybe I can stitch that little guy into an ornament for her. That would be cute. One of the small, like, round ornaments or something. I think that's a good idea. All right, and I think I showed this other one in my, I've got stuff stacked everywhere, last video. So this is Tortoise Tower by Plumstreet Samplers. If I didn't show it in my last video, I know I put it on my Instagram that I've been working on this one. And I was able to squeak out a finish on this one. I worked on it while we were at the beach. Had some fill-in that I did, which made it easier. This is, again, 28 count wheat Lugana, I'm pretty sure. Yes, wheat. And I did change some of the colors because I did want some, I think it was mostly DMC, I want to say. Let's see. Yes, it's all DMC. So I did want some variegation in, like, my turtle, so the blue, and then my flowers as well. I made them with some variation. So I used, here's my floss pack, Wild Berries by Classic Colorworks, and then where's the blue? Deep Blue Sea by Classic Colorworks as well. So those are the two, my floss is a mess, changes that I made to that. And then I did stitch, I had some extra fabric, so I'm gonna make one of those, like, little key rings out of this little turtle. So I stitched a little turtle as well. So that was the baby turtle on the top, but I just haven't made the key ring yet, or the floss ring, I guess. So I will work on finishing that one at some point. And I don't know where I'm gonna put this or how I'm gonna finish it or anything like that. All right, so for Jolly July, I did start working on some ornaments. I am doing the hashtag goal to stitch 52 ornaments in 2023 with a few friends. So Cow Stitcher on Flosstube and Instagram, made by Michelle McGraw on Flosstube and Instagram, Raquel, Traveling Viking Mama on Instagram, and Red Puppy Crafts on Instagram. And then there's been so many people that have joined in. It has been so fun to see all of the different ornaments that people are stitching. Michelle is no doubt going to meet the goal of 52. It is a goal, so I'm probably not going to get to 52, but maybe next year I'll get there. But I'm still having fun stitching the ornaments. I've started doing the ones for my kids. I try to do 3 a year for them, and then I think I've got 2 this year for my husband. One is finished. I've got another one that I'm working on for him, and then some for my tree as well. So without further ado, I have Santa's Tree Farm by Stitching with the Housewives. I had not done any of their roundabouts yet, so this was my first roundabout that I worked on. And this is my finish on him, and it is on 28 count Glacier by Picture This Plus. So I really love this color for Christmas stitching. I think it's fantastic. And I think it's mostly the called for colors, like the light green might be Little Sprout, I think might be the only change that I made. And then instead of eggshell, I use 3865 for all of my stitching. If you heard the door, my husband just came in to get some more coffee and go back out to his deck, which is where he is working. That is his summer office, as he hangs out on the deck while he's working, which is fun. Except for there's been some days he's had to come inside storms, or when it's like massively hot outside, he comes in because it's just too much. All right, and then I did work on some of the ones from Jolly July that they put out this year. So Santa and his reindeer. And my finish on that, I used the same fabric, the 28 count Glacier, and the same called for colors. And I've got Mrs. Claus that I'm working on. So she'll be a WIP when I show you those. So those are 2 ornaments for me. Those will go on my tree. So now some for my family. Those are the other ones that I've been working on. And I do have I'll show that one at the end. Okay. So this is part of my haul and project. So I went ahead and did these. This is JBW Designs French Country Hobby Horse. I got this one off of Stash and Load, and wanting to do it for my girls because my daughter, my almost 4-year-old, loves horses and unicorns and all those things. So this one is for, yes, this one is for the baby. So I did an M in the middle. So I left off like the words at the end. I didn't want to do their full name. So instead I went, she's got a free alphabet that you can go look up. And there's a link, I think, on here to go look at the alphabet. And so I think it's on the inside. Yeah, so jbwdesigns.com/alphabets is the alphabet where you can go look it up. So I just took the M and I centered it in the middle. And then so this one will be Maddie's for this year. And then I asked my middle daughter, Kenzie, what color she wanted. So she picked pink. And so this is hers with the K in the middle. It is Mackenzie, but we call her Kenzie, so we went with the K for that. That way I can also distinguish which one is which daughter's. And these is a super quick stitch and so fun. These are on just like a mystery count fabric that I had in my stash. It's a even weave of some kind, probably 28 count. And then the colors that I used were Crepe Myrtle by Weeks Dye Works and Aunt Marie's Violet by Classic Colorworks to get that variegation that I wanted in there. And I do love some monochromatic stitching. That makes it easier, faster. You're not having to switch floss as much. So nice. All right, so another one. This is my husband's first one that I have finished. Did I write this one down? It's Beachy Christmas. I'll have to look up what magazine it's from. It's from a Just Cross Stitch magazine. It's on 32 count ivory. I think this is Jobelin ivory. And I used the called for DMC. There's 2 colors of DMC that was called for. It's in one of the Ornament magazines, so I'll have to look that up and I'll list it in the show notes because I forgot to look that up beforehand. And I did make an error up here in my star. This star is supposed to be like 1 or 2 over, but I just kind of went with it and it was fine. So there's just a little bit of blank space there, but I don't think it makes too much of a difference. I started this one when we were actually at the beach, or driving around the beach, not actually there. But I enjoyed doing this one for him. So he grew up at the beach. He loves the beach every year that we go. I think he'd be there every weekend if we could get there, but it's a good like 6+ hour drive for us. But he loves the beach. So I thought that was a good one for him. And then the last ornament that I've got is Baby's First Christmas. This is from the 2015 edition, and it is this one right here. So you'll see that I did change some of the colors, primarily the words up here. For Baby's First Christmas. So the baby has 2 of her ornaments finished, which is great because she doesn't have any ornaments, so now she does. This is on a pink even weave, 28 count. I'm not sure. It's just random from my stash that I had that was unlabeled. So I have a lot of like grab bag type ones. 1 2 3 Stitch used to do like small, like this is the size that it was cut. Pieces that you could do grab bags of for pretty inexpensive. And so back then, years ago, I would just get tons of grab bags for the purpose of small ornaments. And so I just have a stash of those. And it was also like a mystery count. You didn't know what you were going to get. So it could be 28 count, 32 count, but I'm pretty sure this one's a 28 count. And then I just changed the color up here to a pink color for Baby's First Christmas. And I thought the little teddy is so cute and perfect for her. I do have one more for her. I think I've got it picked out, but I have not started it yet. And then my last finish, this is one that I had started last year but didn't get a chance to finish during like August when I stitch bee type things. And so I did want to pick it up because I wanted to get a WIP finished. I'm of the mindset these days that the WIP count doesn't matter too much anymore because there are so many of them, and I just want to start things, and I'm much more limited on my stitching time. So if I'm more limited on my stitching time, I want to stitch what I want to stitch. I don't want to feel like I have to stitch something or I got to finish something before I can do that, to where I'm, I don't want to actually work on it because then I won't work on it. So instead I'm like, if I want to start something, I'm going to go ahead and start something, or if I want to work on something, I'm going to work on it. And that's just how it's going to be. And the WIPs are just going to pile up, and hopefully I've got enough bags to keep them all in. So there's some bags that actually have like multiple projects in them, and that's just how it is. All right, so Honey Delivery by Stitching with the Housewives. And I stitched this, and I forgot to look up the I'll put that in the show notes as well. I meant to look that up. I stitched this on a 28 count Rit dyed Monaco that I did, like a turquoisey Rit dye for the purpose of these pieces. So I think they did like an apple, yeah, theirs is like an apple grain. So I did more of the turquoise, and then I did change the color of the car as well as the flowers, to keep it all in the same theme. Because a lot of my bee things have like that turquoisey blue, and I liked that. I do love a red truck as well. But this one didn't take too long to finish up. I was able to stitch it up pretty quick. This will probably be the only bee thing that I stitched this year. But I'm excited that I at least got a WIP off of my WIP pile because it's nice to have something finished. So those are the finishes. Those are 9 finishes. And now we can move on to my WIPs. They are in no particular order. I am going to try to do all of the ornaments together and Christmas type things because I do have some Christmas ones. But first we'll work on some of the other ones. Gotta get my piles from over here. I got everything stacked in piles. I did go through and iron pretty much everything yesterday, so there's that. This was one that I started. It is from Joyful Expressions, so you can find them online on their website, joyfulexpressions.us, I think. Or you can just Google them and you'll find them. They are also the ones who I am doing the His Name is Sal, so the names of Jesus. I haven't worked on that in the last 3.5 months. I do want to pick it back up. I saw someone stitch, so I'm doing the blue conversion of it, and someone stitched the middle, like His Name is Jesus part, which is the center, in like a gold. I think they use like a filament, but I'll do more of like a DMC gold, I think. And I love that because that just kind of stood out. And then you have all the other names around it in blue. So I think I might do that because I haven't stitched the middle part yet. Just a side note. So I picked this one up. I want to stitch it for my bedroom and hang it up in there. And because it's all words, it shouldn't be that difficult. I just haven't worked on it a ton. I think I am stitching this one on like 28 count Dusk Lugana. And I'm just using 3865 for it. And that is as far as I've gotten. So I'm working on that top part. So it won't take long. I just need to get back to it and work on it, and I can get that one finished. There's another one that came out that I want to stitch for. I think it was by Cherry Hill Stitchery, and it's very similar to this. But I want to change the colors to be more of my room, and it's got like a bee theme too, I think. Maybe it was, I can't remember, but it came out, and so you might see that one come up in my WIP pile at some point in the near future because I want to work on that and put that in my room. Get some more stitching in my room, get some more just everyday stitching going as well, not just completely seasonal, because I've got so much seasonal already. All right, I think I made some progress on this little guy since my last show, but I haven't worked on all the other ones yet. This is the April truck. So I did finish January, February, March. So April is where I left off. And I think I got just a little bit of progress on him. He's not completely done yet. But again, another one that won't take long at all to finish. I just need to pull him out. But now it's not April. And so I'm like, I don't really want to work on something that's not within the month. And then I did start the, I guess I could tell you what that is. So this is by, let's see, Erica Made Designs. She is on line as Confessions of a Homeschooler, I believe. Yeah, confessionsofahomeschooler.com. And the other one, the next one I'm going to show is by her as well. And then it's 25 count white Lugana that I'm stitching that on. And that's what I've stitched the entire series on. So this one is, she's doing it this year, the May, or the Stitchy House of the month. So this is the May. You can see that. I love the colors because those are my favorite colors. So I think I finished April and then I moved right on to May. However, that's as far as I've gotten. And these are on 25 count vintage country mocha. I did change some of the colors, but they all stay within the theme of everything. My goal for kitting projects up is not to buy floss. And so if I don't have, if the floss is already in another project or I don't have the color, I just go find something similar that I do have because I'm trying not to buy. But sometimes I do have to buy stuff. It's just the nature of it. But I'm trying not to buy floss as much because I do have quite a bit of floss that I can use. Okay, another one that I picked up and started because, again, I want to have pieces that I can hang up that can stay around, up all throughout the year. This is Bless Our Home by Cottage Needleworks. I've had this one for so long and wanted to stitch it. And even though there's like a flag, this is one that I would keep up year round once I get it done. So I picked this one up on our car trip while we were going to Florida. That's as far as I've gotten on the border. It is stitched on 28 count papyrus by Color and Cotton. So this is one of their fabrics of the month that I received. I can't remember what month it is. I am completely changing all of the colors. All within the same color scheme, but I just, again, picked from my stash on what I had. So I've got Jolly Holly, Old Blue Jeans, Barn Door. I actually am using bamboo because I had bamboo. Let's see, Cocoa Bean and Old Oak Tree are the colors. I think that's actually all of the colors from it. Because there's not a ton of colors, only like 6. So, and then I can show you, I think I shared this on Instagram. I did make this project bag. So this is patchwork, that's what it's called. And it's all from fabric that I had in my stash. So I just found, so I wanted to do this fabric. I think I got it maybe from Michael's, actually. I think I got it from Michael's. So I wanted to use that fabric. So I just took the fabric and found the colors that matched. I followed a couple different tutorials for this one. Elizabeth Ann Ken Stitch I followed for like the full bag. And then for the patchwork, Tiger Lily Designs has a patchwork example. And then there was another one that I used, Bumble Stitches maybe. So I watched a couple videos to see if I could do it. I did like attach these, like sewed them down or ironed them down to the interface, and then I sewed on the back to get the lines and everything. And so I haven't tried to like just attach the squares together. These are 2.5 inch squares. I haven't tried that method, but I do want to try. I know Nicole Spohr posted a video on doing this, and I think I want to follow hers. I just need to have more time to do it. So I actually have to like sit down and dedicate the time because I know sewing that way is going to take me a little bit longer, but I do want to give that a try. So I'm happy with how it turned out. I love these kind of project bags. This is my second one that I've made with the fabric. And then I just used some simple lining fabric that I had in my stash that, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to match because it's not going to show. And then for Mother's Day, I got this keychain from my daughter, I think, from her little Muffins with Mom program that we did. And so I just attached it on because I had just made the bag. I had just gotten this, so it all fit together perfectly. And I loved it. Okay, so that is that one. I'm trying to put everything back together to where I don't lose anything, because that is very common for me these days to lose things. All right, my next one, this is a stitch along with Cornhusker State Stitchers, and this is a design that is exclusive to their shop. And this is My Home Sweet Home by Sweet Wings Studio. And that is the pattern. I loved it from the moment that they put it out. So they started it on June 16th, I believe, which is Flag Day. I think I started it sometime around then as well. I am stitching mine on 32 count Platinum Lugana, and I think I'm changing some of the colors, but not all of them. Like I'm using Barn Door for the red. This is my floss, how it looks. So this is another bag that I made in the last 3.5 months. So I'm gonna show those as I go along. So it's a bee theme. I had a long time ago, like a year ago, cut out all of the fabric. I had matched up the zipper that I wanted to use, ironed the parts on that needed to be ironed to the interfacing, and set them all aside in a stack. So everything was cut, prepared, ready to go. The vinyl was there, everything. And I had probably 6 or 7 bags that were just sitting there waiting to actually be sewn together. So I just finally found 30 minutes here and there and put them together. I still have one more that is not done yet, but I don't want to pull my sewing machine out right now. So once I get my sewing machine out, I will get that one finished. But so this was just another one that just was sitting around and needed to be put together. So I did get it together. And one of the ones that I did put together for my niece for her birthday because she had asked for some stitching things. And so I got her some Country Cottage Needleworks patterns. She likes to stitch animals. the fabric, the floss, and a couple other things. So I did post that one on my Instagram as well, the bag that I had made for her. And that one was fun to make. Okay, so this is my progress. So like I said, 32 count Platinum Lugana. I think the main color change is going to be the red, which I'm using Barn Door for. And the blue might be a little bit different. What blue did it call for? Summer Sky? Actually, I might be stitching Summer Sky. So I think I actually have that one. Yeah, I am stitching the blue, the called for blue. So that is as far as I got. I started, where did I start? I started over here and worked my way over. And then I wanted to get up to the flag. So I worked my way up the flagpole and then started in on the flag. But this one I don't think will be too difficult of a stitch. I've really enjoyed working on it. I've only worked on it for a couple days and then I put it away. But this is another one that, I mean, even though it's more patriotic, I think I'll keep it out year round on like a gallery wall or something like that. Just because I think it's perfect to keep out all year round. All right, I'm not keeping track of what number we're on, but we're almost through the main stack. And then there's the Christmas ornaments. The next one that I worked on, which I think I showed you in my plans last time that I was going to do this one. This is Poppy Creations, Celebrate America. I am stitching this on a 36 count fabric. It's a miscellaneous 36 count. So this is my first time using 36 count. No, second time. But I haven't finished the project that I started a 36 count on. Actually, I have two projects. Okay, so this is my third 36 count. But this one is like, I think the other ones are an even weave 36. Yeah, I think those are 36 even weave, like a white. And then I Brit dyed another 36 count for a project because I couldn't find the color that I wanted. That was like an even weave. So this is my first time on linen 36 count. That is a fair statement. And I'm stitching this 1/2. So 1 floss over 2 linen threads. And this is as far as I got, was just outlining the United States. But again, this one won't take very long because I think that the most that it takes me is that it's 36 count. So I have to pay a little bit more attention to it and have good lighting to see everything that I need to see. But just some stuff to put in the house and finish America down there. But I'm actually really enjoying stitching with one thread. I like that. It's nice to not have like the 2 strands of thread. So I might be stitching some more things on that count. And this is in another bag that I made that was already put together. So the colors, let's see. I think I'm using called for colors. Yes, I'm just, except for the red. So I'm using 115 and it's a DMC variegated color that I really enjoy using when I want a variegation. This one's a little bit smaller than the other ones. I think I had accidentally cut the dimensions wrong, and so I just went with it. So it's just like an inch smaller, I think, but it still works. And more fabric that I just matched and paired together to make that bag. So I like that one. Again, purple is my favorite color. All right, let's see here. So now we're gonna go over to the Christmas stack of what I've been working on for Christmas. So the first one is a Prairie Schooler. This one is going to be for my husband because he loves trains. Made by Michelle McGraw sent this to me after she stitched it. It's in 2 pieces because it's from the magazine. So let's see if we can put it together. That is the piece. Hopefully you can see it. It'll be really cute when it's done, and you can just go check out her Flosstube and Instagram because she stitched it already. And I need to get this one finished. I just haven't yet. So I finished the border. I think I'm using mostly called for colors or other Prairie Schooler colors because I've just got a bag that I keep all of my Prairie Schooler patterns in with the floss that goes with them because it's pretty standard colors that they use. It's on 28 count wheat Lugana. And that's what I've got so far. So that will be his second ornament that I will be finishing up. I think I'm going to start working more on ornaments again in September. I'm kind of working on some fall stuff through August. I might still do some fall stuff in September, but really get back to the ornaments because I've got teacher gifts I need to do. I need to finish the kids stuff and just some other things that I want to do as well. So I do need to get back to getting my ornaments out and working on them. Okay, so the next one, this is for my son. He finally gets an ornament stitched. I figured I did 2 for the baby, 1 for my daughter. I needed to work on something for him. So this is from Charlotte's Collectibles by Charlotte Dawkins, Sports Santa's 1. I stitched the football one for my husband, and my mom made it into a little pillow, and it was like a form-fitting pillow, so it was in the shape of the Santa. Probably not going to do that this time because that is a lot of work, I feel like, to be able to sew like that, and I'm not sure I'm skilled enough to do that, so we'll see how I decide to finish this one. But I'm doing the soccer one for him because he is playing soccer. He's been playing it for 2 years. He loves it. We may eventually go to, like, he's in a club league. We may go into a more competitive league either in the spring or next year because he does really well. And this is as far as I've gotten. Got my needle hanging out. So I just have the top of his hat started, but it's a start. This is, again, a mystery count of fabric. I think it might actually be a 32 count. And if you're wondering, the baby is napping. I did get her down for a nap and we're back to school schedule. So my oldest is now in 1st grade, and then preschool for my daughter, she goes 2 days a week. So today is one of her 2 days. Okay. The next ornament, this is, whoops, Living on the Rainbow. It's Home for Christmas cards. She has an Etsy shop, Living on the Rainbow. This is not the first design that I've been stitching from her. She's got some cubes that I've been working on. I haven't finished, but I do have them in my WIPS. And then she's got like a Santa's Village that are kind of like drums. And I've got those in my WIP pile, which is what one of the 36 counts that I'm working on is in my WIP pile. So I might have to pull that one out soon. This actually, so these are like postcards. She's got several of them. I think even one in one of the Just Cross Stitch magazines. And it's actually 2-sided. So I don't have a picture of the other side, but I can show you because I've started working on the other side. So you put them together like a sandwich, and then you've got the 2-sided ornament, which I really love. And I'm using, so what I did for some of my Christmas ornaments, I picked out just like a color palette of general colors that you would see for Christmas patterns. If a pattern had another color, I'd go grab that if it wasn't something that I had. But really, I wanted to make it simple, especially for Jolly July, to where I could just pick a pattern and be like, okay, I've got a dark red, I've got a light red, I've got a pink, I've got like a skin color, I've got a brown for trees, 2 shades of green, a gray when it's needed, and then the standard white. So I just had like a pack of floss that I was working from. I don't have it in this bag. It's in another bag. But so I just picked that out, and then I was going to use those standard colors for the ornaments that I worked on because most of them had just the standard colors. So rather than going and picking out specific shades, it just was easier for me to just have a bag that had the colors that I needed, especially since ornaments usually stitch up pretty quick. And so if I was going to be switching the ornaments out, I just wanted to have that bag of colors. So that's how I did for that. So this is the front that I've gotten so far. So I've got the border, the words, working on the car up here. So I think I just need to do the wheels and a few more snowflakes and then some back stitch, and then the front will be done. And this is on 25 count. I think it's Vintage Country Mocha. And then this is the back. So you can see how it looks like a postcard. And then the back of it has, okay, so it's got the barn. I just have to finish filling it in. Is there anything else there? The tree. Yeah, there's nothing else there. Just gotta finish filling it. I think I needed another red. And then the door. So this one did call for 2 shades of red, and at the time I didn't have that. And then there's just some lines, like it's been mailed, and then it says the year, December. So this one's almost done. I will have this one finished this year. I think I'm going to go through, and because all of my ornaments that I've got going right now are very close, so I think I'm just going to go through and one at a time finish them, and then pick up some other ones that I need to do. But that would just get these ones knocked out and finished. All right, so I do have just a bag that is for stitching with the Housewives ornaments and floss. So this is the bag. This is one that I made as well. It's not a Christmas bag, but it works. So it just has all of their PDF patterns that I've printed out, a whole bunch of fabric, and then just the floss colors that usually go with their patterns. So this is the second one that I'm working on of the, what are these? The Sassy Stripper series. So this is Mrs. Claus, and she is almost done as well. Oh, I've got some floss just hanging out. Ooh, whoops. She's almost done too. So I just need to finish her up. This is again on the 28 count glacier that I've got, that I love. I think I've got a decent stash of it, which is good because I'm going to be stitching lots of Christmas on those. I think this one might be my last ornament. This is by the French Giraffe, and it's a 4x4 Peekaboo Santa. So that's the little guy there. Small picture. Super cute. Again, just my own colors from that bag that I was working on. And this is 28 count coffee tea dyed Monaco that I'm working on. So I went through, and this one's a great one for just having fill in. I need to finish, I think, a little bit in. This actually might all be white now that I've got the red there. The rest of this might be white, and then his face. And then there's the words ho 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 right there. So this guy, again, very quick. I just need to fill in and he'll be done, which is great. I can take that one maybe to gymnastics tomorrow. My daughter has gymnastics. The baby's usually pretty chill and just hangs out and plays and doesn't need a whole lot at that point in time. By the time we get home, she's ready for a bottle because it's at 9 o'clock. Bottle and nap at that point. All right, so my last Christmas one, and then I think I've got 2 more WIPs after that, and then we're done with the WIPs. This is Welcome to the North Pole. There's a sale going on. I have not kept up with it by Primrose Cottage Stitches. This one won't be finished this year for me. There's a lot to it, but I am enjoying what I am working on with it. All right, let me turn my page so I know. It is on 28 count earthen, and are you ready? It's on linen. Woo! Getting out that linen, trying to branch out of life. So this is where I am at with this one. So I got that top part done pretty easily, and then I've started in on the train, which I love the train. I told my husband I think that engine, I might just stitch the engine for him as an ornament maybe next year because the engine is so cute. And again, he loves trains. I think I'm using some called for, some of my own colors, just that are pretty close to them. Y'all, it's a lot of colors. And then I did stitch, so Job Girl Stitches, I think, got a lot of us on this kick. And this is the rings that I was talking about. So I did go ahead and just stitch this guy up first before the stitch along started to where I had him ready, and I thought it was really cute. And it also gave me some practice stitching on this linen to see if I liked it and wanted to continue on it. I've had this linen in my stash forever. So it does have like some fuzzies on it. I don't know if that's just because it's been in my stash or if that's just the nature of the fabric. But I've kind of just noticed like some of the, I don't know if you can see it, the fuzzies as I'm stitching along. It doesn't bother me. I don't think it's an issue. I think it's just a matter of it's been in my stash forever maybe. And then I have it in this project bag that I got for Christmas by Goose Designs, and it's got the thread keep. There's too much thread though to put in there, but I can put like stray pieces in there. So I'll hold that up one more time. So that's where we're at so far. I've loved seeing all the progress from everyone who's been working on it. And it's such a fun stitch. So cute. I know a lot of work went into this piece by them and they did a great job. So those are all the Christmas. So working on fall, I wanted to pick up my Fall on the Farm series. And I'll show the ones that I have done. So I think it's a 9-part series. I'm pretty sure it's 9. I did most of these last year. I've only been starting on the next one this year. So this is one of them. These are on 28 count. Oh no, 32 count Mushroom Lugana and called for colors. So that's the first one. Not in the first one of the series, the first one in my pile. That's the next one. And then the truck, which I'm looking at the truck and I'm wondering if that's finished. Because that looks empty in there. Maybe that's supposed to be like that. I'm gonna have to look at the pattern. And then the farm stand. I think this one was actually the very first one. And then currently, oh, hold on, no. I have 2 more done. They're just on the back of this fabric. All right, so I got the little cow done. He's cute. And then the center one. So what does that mean? I've got 7 done? No. 6? Math is hard. I don't know. I think I have 6 done, so I'm working on the 7th one. I think I've got 3 more of this series left to go. And this is the one that I'm working on. I am working on Pumpkin Patch. So this is the 7th chart. And this one's been a fun one to pick up. I think I already had the border done, so all I've done so far is start working on some pumpkins down here. I think I'm going to do it line by line. So I'm going to finish this line, and then there's a line of like white pumpkins, do those, and then I'll come up here and do the people, the tree, and the pumpkin patch sign. Is how I will end up doing that. And this is in a Dot Dot Goose bag as well, which is the perfect fall bag. I love it. The fabric is pumpkin spice and oh, so good. We are almost to pumpkin spice season. It's gonna be great. All right, my final WIP is not a seasonal stitch. It is just one that I wanted to pick up and start working on. I'll show you the bag. This is another one that I had ready to go and just needed to be put together and sewn. And so I did that. So that's my next bag that I finished. And I think that's all the bags that I sewed. Maybe if I come across any other ones, I'll show you in my next video. So this is the Lizzie Kate Things Unseen Mystery Sampler. So it comes in 3 parts that I purchased, I think, off of 123 Stitch. So this is what it looks like. It's actually quite large once you see my progress on where I'm at. And I am stitching this on 28 count a sampler by Color and Cotton, and I'm using floss colors of my own. So here's my floss ring that I'm working with. It's a mess. But I just went through and picked out colors that I thought matched. There's a couple that are called for, but a lot of them are not. I thought I was going to stitch this on linen. So I think I may have showed this one in one of my previous videos and showed some linen that I thought I was going to stitch it on. But I stitched this on the linen, again, to practice and see how I felt about it. And I did not like it. And so I decided I was not going to stitch it on linen. And so I switched to 28 count Lugana by Color and Cotton. I've actually been working on this the last few days. I started it and had just a very small start on the border and the words about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. And then I picked it up the last few days and I've been working on it in the evenings, and I love it. I cannot wait to keep working on it. So I'm trying to get down to that flower pot because I really want to stitch it. So I finished so where I was when I very first started it was I just had like the T. So I finished the words and then came down here and started stitching, and now I'm working down here. And I think the flowers are a specialty stitch. I don't think those, because it's lines is what the pattern looks like. So just like straight stitches across all the way around to make it a flower. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. But I really love this pattern. And this is another one that will stay up all year long. It will be on my probably gallery wall with some of my other stitches like this. So it comes in three parts. So I am working on part 1. I'll probably skip around rather than just like doing it part by part or whatever. And then I do it. So the floss I'm using is Sea Shelly, Clay Pot, Brown Sugar, Tea and Biscuits, Peanut Brittle, Eve's Leaves, Shamrock. So we have, let's see, Cocoa Onks and Parchment were called for, I believe. And then I'm also using Desert Mesquite by Classic Colorworks. So those are the changes that I made there. If anyone's interested, I can let you know as well. Okay, so that is all of my stitching so far. All right, so moving on to haul. Like I said in the beginning, when you're not stitching as much, I mean, there's a lot of stitching here, but that's 3.5 months worth of stitching. So if you think about it, it's not nearly as much as what I once was doing. So I figured, I guess apparently I needed to work on my other hobby of collecting. And so I do have quite a bit of stash here. A lot of it is from stash on load sites, so getting things pretty discounted, which has been great. And then there's some clubs that I've received as well. So I'm gonna share those with you. I'll start with the clubs. So the first one that came in was the Stitching Season Summer with the Housewives. So you got the bag, the enamel charm that I'm just using as a zipper pull. It's very heavy though. And then what I was gonna show in here, everything is, you know, called for and everything. I'm sure you guys have seen this. This is the pattern. I have not stitched on the pattern at all, but I did at least make that little guy, the little strawberry from it, and then put the floss on a keyring. So So I at least have that going for me. I will stitch this everything called for with the fabric that came with it and everything like that when I get around to it, but that'll probably be a next year thing. And then, so I'm so far behind, that autumn also came. And so again, the beautiful charm. So again, I have not started it. I don't know if I'm going to stitch it this year, but I at least stitched a pumpkin. So it comes with enough fabric that I can just take a little corner of it and stitch that, and still have plenty for my pattern. I guess I could show you the pattern, but I'm sure you've seen it at this point because it is been shown by Fat Quarter Shop and everyone. I really do love this one. I can't wait to stitch it. All the pumpkin, give me all the pumpkins. Everything pumpkin. Pumpkin is my favorite. All right, so I have had several fabrics of the month come in, so I think I've got 4 here for Color and Cotton. They did switch over for their clubs to not doing Lugana anymore, and so now it's a linen. So I figured since we were in the mode of switching things over, I would switch to a 32 count instead of a 28 count. Before that though, I did get my last, this is the May, and this is a 28 count Lugana. This is Tumbleweed. I'm sorry for the glare, I didn't take them out of the packaging. So that's the 28 count Lugana. And then since then, I don't have, apologies for the crinkles. All right, this is the July month. This is Milk and Tea, and it's the 32 count, so Milk and Tea. I like that color a lot. I'm in the neutral club. This is the June club, and it is Coral Canyon. Again, 32 count. And the August club was Mystic Owl. So this is more of like a gray. So trying to increase some linen options for me in the 32 count. All right, so I'm gonna grab my stash unloading parts that I got. So let's start with that. Here we go. I'll show the big one first. This is Patriotic Mantle by Bent Creek. So this comes as, I think it's a 3-part kit. And I've done one of the mantles so far. So they've got several mantles. This was one that actually was on my search. So I keep Google up with searches, and this was on my eBay search for to be able to find. And so when it came up on Stash Unloading and they were providing the pack, the rest of the floss that came in it for like $25, because these retail, I think, between $70 and $80. One year I got some of them for Christmas presents. I was like, that's a great deal. I'll take it. I just, want the pattern. So you can see what the whole thing will look like down there. So this is Patriotic Mantle by Bent Creek. And I'll use my own fabric anyways, which is what I did for the first one that I did. And then I've got, so I did the snowman one. There's a autumn one that I want to do, and then a stocking, Christmas stocking one that I want to do for the mantle. And then they have one that is just like a home piece. I'd like to do that one as well, but I don't have that one. That's not one that I have. This is Lizzie Kate, Be Strong. I'd like to stitch that one up and put it on my gallery wall as well. I think this one would match really well with the Things Unseen mystery. This is by Chessie and Me. It's Long May She Wave. I just liked that one a lot to make it like a little pillow. And she sent it with like the remaining threads that she had left over. So I like that. All right, so this is I Would Rather Be Stitching by Primrose Cottage. I did not have this one, and it was on Stash Unload. So I was like, yes, please. This is Lizzie Kate, Merry Friends, Santa. I thought this one might actually be a cute one to stitch for one of my girls. My middle daughter loves animals, so that might be a good one for her. Summer ABCs by Lizzie Kate. Really love that as well. Abundantly Blessed by the Trilogy. I do really like the Trilogy, and this one was just small and cute. I like the colors. All right, a couple more from the French Country by JBW Designs. This is Pumpkin. And then this is Autumn Harvest. Super cute. This is Cottage Gardens, which I've actually never stitched anything from them, but I loved this little Santa. Ho, ho, ho. I thought he was so cute. So I snagged him. This might be my first cottage garden pattern. Little House Needleworks, the music store. I did not have this pattern. I've got a running list because there's, you know, 20 or 30 of these, maybe more, of the Hometown Holiday series. So I've got a running list on my phone of what ones I have. So if something pops up, I can go look and see if I have it or not. And this is one that I did not have. So I grabbed it. This is Lizzie Kate's Seasons, and it comes with 4 charts. I thought those were really great. Great one to do all, you know, 4 charts in one pattern. Love it. This is Red, White, and Beach by Lizzie Kate. So I'd like to eventually have like a beach theme for August as well. So this would be great to do. One thing I thought about was we go to the beach in May, not generally August. But most of like Country Cottage Needleworks, their beach themes are August. If I was thinking back when I stitched these, you know, some of them I stitched in 2007. So obviously I wouldn't have ever thought about it. I would have switched May and August. So just put the words, stitch the words differently, but stitch them because I do bees in August and we go to the beach in May. So I could have switched them, but that's okay. Anyways, I'll still do like a beach theme at some point. This is Heartstring Samplery, Sweet Land of Liberty. Also, I don't think I've ever stitched a Heartstring Samplery, but I do think I have a couple others. This is another Bent Creek. This is the Liberty House. I don't think I had seen this one before. So I have Santa's house. I know there's like a Halloween one too. There's a mushroom one, I think, with gnomes. But I had not seen this one. And so it comes with some of the snaps. And it's definitely a used pattern. And there's some writing on the chart, but that didn't bother me at all. And so she was selling this for really inexpensive. And it all comes together. So I think the Santa one came in like three different patterns, but this one all came together, which is great. So I like that one a lot. This is Plumstreet Samplers Autumn Cottage. Trying to increase my Plumstreet samplers because I love them. Love them. This is a Trail Creek Farm Spectacular in My Spring. I can't remember why I got this one. Maybe for the butterfly for my daughter because she loves butterflies. I thought it was cute. And the flowers. I like the flowers. All right, so this one's attached. This is by Bent Creek, and it is, does it have a name? Ho 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 Special Edition Kit. But it just comes with the pattern. And this is like a photo. That is so funny. And then we've got Liberty Inn. I don't know who this one's by. It's Liberty Inn. That's the little picture. It's just folded up. Let's see. Tessie and Me. This is another Tessie and Me. I was thinking it might be by the way that it looked. So that's Liberty Inn. Cute. And then Prairie Schooler Stars and Stripes. This is actually like a cardstock. So I was excited to snag that one for some patriotic stitching. And then these are 2 trilogy ones that I did not have. So I have done Winterology, Summerology, Springology, and Autumnology. Yeah, Autumnology. That just sounds funny. So this one was Seaology. So again, I want to do like sea themed. So I loved it. And I had not seen these ones. And then this is Ornamentology. So Christmas. So I would definitely stitch them separately, which is what I've done previously for the other ones. So I was really excited to see those ones come up. And this last one is Homespun Elegance, A Family Homestead. And I thought this would be a cute one. I'd probably change the colors to brighten them up a little bit. But another one that I could do as an everyday piece on like a wall to put up. So I love that. And then a few months back, maybe, I was the winner of from Stitching with the Housewives of some fabric. So this is Fabric Flare, Even Weave. Does that have a name? Denim Dyed Effect. And with it, they sent the Honeybee Garden pattern. So I did not have that one yet. So I was very excited to get both the chart and the fabric. And then I did actually win I think it was Tidbit Tada one recently. But I have not made good on that because I'm waiting for the Welcome Home Autumn piece to come into the Etsy shop. So I emailed them and said I would be waiting shortly. But then I would make good on it soon. Okay, so another one, so that is all of my stash and load. The rest is from like actual shops that I purchased from. So this was an exclusive to Keepsakes, I believe, and this is the Anytown Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. I'm actually hoping to go to Keepsakes in a couple weeks because we are traveling up that direction for Labor Day weekend, and so I'm hoping that like a Saturday maybe before we go do our activities that we have planned, that I'll be able to make a trip to Keepsakes. But it is a little out of the way, so I've got to convince my husband to make that trip. So hopefully I can convince him to do that and make that trip. This is the July 4th, 1776 house by Plumstreet Cottage. They have a B one too as well. I don't think I've gotten that one yet, but I do want to get it and stitch it. These little house series that she started is so cute. Okay, I am going to show some other fabric that I got real quick. This is from Cross Stitching Supplies. It is a website, and they have fabric that you can get. Sorry for the noise. There's something else in this bag. Oh, that's something else. I'll show that too. And they have small counts that you can get for just like a couple dollars. So as I was thinking of, I want to start branching out into linen a little bit more. I wanted to see what they had. And give it a try. So I went through and just found some colors that I liked and pulled them out from between 32 count, and there is one that is 40 count. So this one is 36 count Vintage Country Mocha, and it is just a 7x8 piece. So I figure ornament or just a small stitch that I could do. But I wanted to get like the Vintage Country Mocha. I have noticed that I prefer the Zweigart based linens so far is what I prefer. So these are all Zweigart. Apparently I got a Lugana as well. Whoops. This is 32 count slate blue Lugana. I guess I wanted some Lugana. And this is a bigger piece, so a little bit bigger, 7x13. This is a 5x8, 32 count Vintage Country Mocha. So again, a great like ornament or maybe for a little longer small piece. And then 32 count mushroom / light mocha linen, and this is an 8x13 one. It's folded in half, so it's a little bit bigger than that. 32 count latte linen, 7x13. 36 count charcoal gray linen. So I wanted like a darker one that I could do some smaller pieces on that would work for like the black linen. This is the 40 count summer khaki linen. It is an 8x13 as well. So I have not obviously ventured to the 40 count yet. We'll see. 32 count smoky pearl linen. And that's 7x13. And then an 8x9, 32 count charcoal linen. Sorry if it's clear on the fabric. So I haven't pulled these out to integrate them into my stash yet, but I will. And the next one, this is a grab bag that I got. So Color and Cotton had grab bags of different sizes. These are the 8x12 pieces of linen, and you just got whatever color. It's not labeled, so you don't actually know what you got. But they had some bigger ones. I just was too late to get those, so I got these smaller ones. So this is a really pretty blue, and it's anywhere between 32 and 40 count, I think. And I think this is probably a 32 count, maybe. Pretty blue, and then just two that are more neutral. And I think these ones are actually higher count. So this one was probably a 36 count. And I think this one's a 36 count as well. So they're smaller pieces, so 8x12. And so that was fun to get those, just continuing to build that. I actually do have quite a bit of linen from having been gifted some linen. And also I would go out and when I visited different shops, I didn't completely understand the difference at the time between linen and Lugana or even weave. So I did get like small pieces that were like discounted and on sale that I had still in my stash that I can stitch from. So I do have a linen stash. It's just older stash, I would say. For my birthday, which was back in February, but because of life, I don't think I got this until later on, which was totally fine. But my sister-in-law got me this bag as well as one of Creative Carol's portfolios. And so I did get I think maybe the black one portfolio for the Stitching Housewives. And then this is Dot Dot Goose, and I love it. And then this is by Forbidden Fiber Co. They have, I didn't know this until last year and it was too late. They did a holiday countdown, advent, and they did it with this pattern. And so once I saw people stitching it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. So I went and stalked their site, and obviously it wasn't there. Well, so I joined their email list, hoping that they would let us know when it became available. I'm not thinking it would become available so soon, because usually those things are like a year, but I guess for them it's like 6 months later. And so they put out an email, they said that it was available and they had kits. And so I went ahead and grabbed it. And I want to stitch this, and honestly this one might stay up all year. Might not just be a Christmas one once I get up, go in my train display. So I did go ahead and get the kit with everything. So this is a 1/8 yard of Polar, and it's 28 count Lugana is the fabric that I decided to stitch it on. I think I was going to do something smaller, but I think they may have been sold out of that. So I was like, that's fine, I can do this. And then it is all of their threads as well. And so this is how it came, like their own thread cards that are adorable, and everything on there. So those colors are just wonderful. So I have affectionately put this in this bag in the hopes to start it sometime during the Christmas season. Okay, the last couple things I wanted to share for haul were some 31 gifts that you can get. So they had a sale. My sister-in-law has a consultant, so I like to support her every now and then when I can. I got a few bags for Christmas gifts that I'm gonna do. And then these I thought would be great project bags. So this, look how cute. And it's just like, I think it's like a pencil pouch, but it's the perfect size to put a project in. And I loved the fabric. And then there's also this bag, which you can, so it's got this zipper that goes around, so you can make it smaller, you can make it bigger. It's got kind of a flat bottom. So I really liked that. And then this bag is actually, it's like a crafter's, it's called something craft, but it comes out. So you can put like bags in it, projects in it. And then these sides pop out. And I'm not even taking the tissue paper out. So when you pop out one side, it's got a vinyl bag and these little pockets to put things in. And then it snaps back up. And then the other side does the same thing, except for it's like a mesh pocket. And then this part is not as sealed. It's just sealed by Velcro. But so you open it up. Woo! And it can lay flat and have everything there and stand up. So I was actually, this was I think the reason why I went and I got it. I can't remember if I saw it on one of the Facebook groups that someone had posted it, and then I went and looked for it, but it was also on sale, and so they had like a big clearance sale, so I grabbed that. And then the final thing that I'll show, this was on clearance at the dollar spot at Walmart, so I got it for like $1.25, and you just put the two pieces together. I haven't done it yet, but I thought it'd be really cute to for this little stand to put a stitched patriotic piece on. So that is everything. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me. It has been a while, so there was definitely a lot to share. I appreciate you looking at my projects and seeing what I'm working on. I've been watching a lot of Flosstube as I can. Sometimes I will watch it when I am feeding the baby at like 2 in the morning to keep me awake because I'm so tired. And so I do that, and then as I'm feeding her at like 10 o'clock, I'm watching some Flosstube. So as I can, I'm watching some Flosstube. So I wanted to shout out a couple that I've been watching. Mrs. Smith Stitches, she's been around for several months now, but I haven't shouted her out yet, so I've really enjoyed watching Elena. She's up in Canada. She's got some fantastic projects. I just really enjoy her videos. She's done a great job starting out with Flosstube. And then the two base stitchers, they are, I've followed them on Instagram for a long time, and they've put out their first video, I think only the first one. If there's a second one yet, I apologize, I just haven't gotten to it, but I've really enjoyed watching them and their two projects, and they're a fun duo to watch. So check them out if you haven't yet. I will link them down below. And then the only other thing that I was going to share was just I I think the baby's crying. So real quick, a brief life update. So the last time I saw you was the end of April. We did have a surgery for, she was 3 months at the time, the baby, and she did beautifully. So thank you so much for the prayers. We went in at, I think we had to be there at 5 a.m. So we went in at 5 a.m. She was back for surgery around 8. She hadn't had anything to eat, but even so, she really wasn't super cranky. They had a little bit of trouble getting the breathing tube down just because she's got small airways and doesn't enjoy that. But once they got it in, she did great. We were able to have her back with us, I think by like 1 o'clock that afternoon. My husband and I were both in the little room that they put us in, just working on our computers, keeping us occupied. She went straight from, I mean, the surgery was on her jaw. It was to remove the device that they had put in to extend her jaw because she was born with the retracted jaw. And so the extension had been completed. The new bone had started growing really well. So they were able to take the device out, which was great because it had started kind of poking back through her skin and getting infected. So thankfully the timing was perfect to get it out and make her more comfortable in that sense. But they thought she would have trouble feeding. She went straight to feeding, even with like numbing medicine and everything. She wanted the bottle right away and took more than she normally would. They gave us like some heavy pain meds, which she never needed. We just gave her Tylenol for a little while just to make sure she was comfortable. She went straight to sleeping again through the night and only me having to wake her to feed her. It was just amazing. She didn't lose any weight. She continued growing and they expected all these things. So we were just so thankful for that. The garage door went up. Hopefully he'll stop. So everything went really well. A few weeks later, we were able to go on our yearly beach trip with the family, and that was fantastic. So we went to Destin, just get some good beach time, pool time, family time, kind of kicking off the summer. And then after that, we just kind of jump started the summer. So the kids were both of them were out of school, and we still kept up with some activities. So like gymnastics and soccer, and my husband and I working. So it was very chaotic with everyone being home. And my two kids do great when they have some separation. And then they come together and they want to play together. So them being home all summer, they had to learn to play well together and not get angry at each other. So that was a learning curve. But we are now back in the swing of school, which means early mornings, trying to get to bed early as best as possible for me to get up and get them, because it is a little bit of a drive for him to school. Next year, hopefully my daughter will be in kindergarten. They'll both be at the same school, but right now they're at 2 different areas. But for her, I just drop her off on the way home because it's right there on the way home, which is great. But he's loving first grade. He is going for about an hour and a half longer for each day, which also gives me more time at home, which is really nice to have that time to either work or clean or just spend time with baby, everything like that. So it's been really great. Like I said, we've got a trip coming up. We're going to be camping and going to a few different places for Labor Day weekend with family. So his family and my family will be all be up there. We're going to be tent camping. We had a tent, but it really didn't fit all 5 of us. So we did get a bigger tent that had like 2 rooms and then the center area. I think it was like an Amazon Prime deal. Maybe Walmart Prime or something. I don't know. My husband picked it out. So we're looking forward to giving that tent a try. And I think the weather should be good. Hopefully no rain for that trip. But just getting away for a little while and enjoying that will be great. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't know when I'll be back. I would like to get my annual ornament video done. But that also, I've only done like 11 ornaments, I think, this year. Last year, I think I had over 30. So we'll see if I can finish some more. And that also means I have to fully finish them. So that may not be until like late November. We'll see. And then I would like to try to put out a video for fall stitching if I can. So we'll just kind of play it by ear and see how much stitching I'm able to get done. And because I like to come in here and have lots of stitching to show you guys. And that's just not been the case over the last few months. So today I had a lot, but that's a lot of buildup. But it's been fun to stitch when I can, get it in every now and then, and I'm just enjoying this stitching time more because it is more limited. So it's been just a very good way for me to relax and when I can, and it helps me keep going throughout the week, to just have that little bit of time, even if it's only an hour one night, just to get that little bit of a reprieve, and do something for me that I enjoy. So yeah, I'm gonna keep stitching. I'll try to share better on Instagram. I did good for a little while, and then it just kind of fell by the wayside with the craziness, so I'll try to do better there. But thank you again so much for just your continued support. I really appreciate it, and like I said, I hope to be back again in the next couple months to be able to share some updates. Definitely by the end of the year, I will have something out. And then next year, maybe I'll be able to get into a better rhythm once we kind of get this school thing going, and everything like that. So thank you so much. I hope everyone has a great back to school, Labor Day, and whatever else comes before I see you next.